Hello and welcome to this series where I talk about creative workshop facilitation. We already covered the topics of what I learned in 5 years of hosting. I also talked about why adults stop being creative in the first place. And then I talked about the biggest mistakes that a facilitator makes, because mistakes are normal and mistakes are here to learn from. And in this video, I want to share makes a workshop actually transformative. So my first question to reflect on regarding this topic is what creates a breakthrough? A breakthrough can be as small or as big as you want. A lot of the times it's simple as that, as a person is feeling seen and understood. And I think through art making and creativity, feeling seen is something else than feeling seen with your voice or feeling seen with your expression, your opinion. Another breakthrough could be that you're experiencing something new. So you're not just learning about something, you're also experiencing something. And you're connecting those experiences with your own life experiences. And also the part that is really interesting is that you're experiencing it in a group. So you can have real life conversations about the experience and how it connected back to your life. And then it creates really interesting conversations. And that's why I think workshops are really great to get to know people. Another breakthrough moment could be just a moment of surprise in yourself. Like you showed up, you came to the workshop and you actually created art and you actually really like it. You would like to take it home, show it to friends, or even maybe hang it up in your room. A breakthrough especially nowadays can also be just to create something with your own two hands and not consuming information, not consuming any kind of doom scrolling, and just connecting back to yourself. So creating breakthrough is kind of hard to plan, but I also want to mention what does not create a breakthrough. And I think I mentioned it a bit in my last video. Definitely information overload is something that I personally don't consider a breakthrough. When I'm participating in a workshop, I don't want to be overloaded with information. I don't want to just passively listen, and I don't want to be rushed from one activity to another. Also, what I really don't like to see in a facilitator is when they point out one person and telling them they did a really good job, but then the group kind of feels left out and doesn't really, and then you kind of feel judged and you feel compared. So I wouldn't pick out one person. I would always say you all did a great job, and if you want to pick out things, then you should pick out things from everyone's artwork. And also what I already mentioned last week, that maybe there wasn't enough time to process things. That could be also pointing to not really having a transformational moment. But that transformational moment can also come way after. So that could be when the participants are already home, or even a week later and they're thinking back, oh, that was actually a really great moment, experience. What really creates a transformative moment is emotional safety, feeling safe, feeling trusted, and feeling of belonging, and permission to be imperfect, permission to be vulnerable, and not only permission to, but also to feel okay with being vulnerable, and no fear of looking silly. Or I think so. When you've created transformation is when you've realized that the energy of the group is really safe, feels really safe, and they are really curious and they explore, and so you've managed to create a supportive container. Another transformative element in a workshop is definitely the reflection part. If you leave space to reflect together with the group, there's also really magical moments that can happen. So I would also always suggest to kind of mention just like 1 or 2 questions to reflect on and integrate and process. Also, what is really helpful is when the group shares their experience or their artwork, they're trying to make sense of what they've experienced. You could do it in a very quick way. You could ask everyone in the end to say just 1 word to kind of sum up the day and what are they taking away from this experience. So you're also learning something from their reflections as a facilitator. And the participants could kind of go away with the question that, what did that mean for me exactly? And I think that's a really great transformational moment when people start to be self-aware and connect the dots and trying to shift their perspectives and also their way of thinking and into connecting the dots and the meanings that they've realized and seen in their art. Transformation doesn't really come from the content of the workshop, but it comes from what happens inside the people and while also they're engaging with the content that you've provided. So it's hard to predict what will transform a person. The more workshops I host, the more I believe that transformation isn't something that we can really force or plan, but a facilitator's job is simply to create the conditions that where it has a chance to happen. So if you create a good container, transformation can happen. So I hope this was interesting to you, and let me know in the comments what would you add and what has transformed you in an experience. Really happy if you share your insights on this topic.